The house had always been quiet, but not like this. Not the kind of quiet that draped over your shoulders like a weighted blanket, pressing down gently but insistently until even your bones felt tired. Evelyn, at 71, sat in the same spot on the floral armchair her husband Arthur had once claimed as his throne, though it had never suited her. The fabric was worn smooth where his elbows used to rest. His scent long faded but somehow present in the silence. She'd lived in the cottage for nearly 40 years, tucked just beyond the edge of a small New Hampshire town. Her children had long moved out, David to Portland and Sandra to Chicago. Arthur had passed away 9 years ago, a slow, aching departure from cancer. Since then, the days folded in on themselves, stacked like pages in a book she'd stopped reading. It was in this space, between the ticking clock and the distant echo of laughter from neighbor kids, that Evelyn started to notice the mirror more often. Not for vanity, that had abandoned her decades ago, but for memory. She saw her mother in her jawline, her daughter in the gentle slope of her neck, Arthur in the way her fingers curved when holding a teacup. On a particularly quiet Thursday morning, Evelyn opened the curtains just a little wider. The golden light that spilled in made her skin glow in a way that surprised her. She stood there, in a robe she'd once saved for special occasions, though none had come in years. Felt soft, almost scandalous. It dipped low on her chest, and she could feel the coolness of morning air meeting her skin. She didn't draw the curtains back. It wasn't about seduction. It was about existence. To be seen, even by oneself, was something she hadn't done in so long that it had become foreign. But the mirror saw her. The sunlight saw her. That afternoon, she sat down with a sketchpad she hadn't touched in over 2 decades. The last time she'd drawn was when Sandra was still in high school, asking her to design backdrops for a school play. Evelyn's hand trembled, not from age but from the weight of returning. She began to draw what she'd seen in the mirror that morning. Not her body, not her robe, but the feeling, the exposure, the unexpected boldness. Days passed like this. She woke, she sat by the window, she let the sun fall on her collarbones, and she drew. One morning she dared to add watercolor. The first strokes were timid, but soon she found herself letting the water run, the pigment bleed, the page breathe. Weeks passed, then months. David called more often now, not because anything was wrong, but because he said, "You sound different, Mom." Sandra sent her books about older artists rediscovering their work. Evelyn didn't say much. She didn't need to. One morning, she received a letter from an old friend she hadn't spoken to in years. Marjorie. They'd once been inseparable in their 20s, dancing barefoot in the gardens of summer, before life steered them in different directions. The letter was filled with nostalgia, with grief, with honesty. It was sparked, Marjorie said, by something David had shared on social media, a watercolor Evelyn had sent him, which he'd posted with the caption, "My mom's soul in color." Evelyn invited Marjorie to visit. They sat across from each other on the porch, the years between them dissolving. Both had grown lines around their eyes. Both had stories that could not be told in a single afternoon, but the comfort was immediate. "I thought I disappeared," Evelyn said softly. Marjorie reached for her hand. "You never did. You just stopped looking." That night, Evelyn stood at her bedroom window again. The robe was loose, the lamp in the corner casting a warm amber hue. She let herself breathe, fully, deeply. She was no longer hiding from her reflection. She was conversing with it.